The moment has finally arrived. That thought sends a cold rush of fear and adrenaline down your spine. Once you walk through those doors, there is no going back. But you have to do this. You have to at least try to speak to the king, no matter the cost. An uninvited audience may be punishable by death after all, even for a woman of your standing. Everything depends on your success at this task. Failure is absolutely not an option. There are so many lives besides yours on the line. Your entire people are depending on you, whether they know it or not. You continue to stand at the doorway, steadying yourself, and your mind continues to race. It's absurd, really, the whirlwind of changes in the last few months. Less than a year ago, this all would have been laughable, being selected and brought to the palace, and then becoming the king's favorite. You are just an orphan from a race of people in exile, yet here you stand, a queen in Persia. It's a bit of a twisted joke that you are the one being sent to try and save your people. It's been far too long since you've even kept the laws and the practices of your people. Another deep breath, and with your head held high, you make your way through the door and enter the throne room. You are a queen, after all. These may be the last steps you take, but you will take them with grace. I'm Bree.
And I'm Christiana.
Tune in for a tale of luck, both good and bad.
Because you're about to hear something strange.
Welcome to episode 52, In Mysterious Way. I'm going to get into our sources, and then we'll kind of jump into the episode.
Okie dokie.
The Shavi, Hyman Encyclopedia of Jewish Women, the Book of the Bible, Esther, Encyclopedia Britannica, Purim, Judaism 101, NPR, Purim, a festive Jewish holiday with an ending often ignored, and then Purim on Wikipedia. Also, the Bible, Historical and Literary Introduction, and the HarperCollins Study Bible. What do you know about the Book of Esther or the title character?
I know absolutely nothing. Based on your narrative, I'm assuming she's a queen.
Yes. So we'll see what I remember, because this is one of my two scripts. I must have deleted the other one that I wrote and we never used because I changed my mind.
Yeah.
So yes, she is a queen. She has a whole book of the Bible named after her, actually. So this is a biblical tale.
Okay.
Also, a disclaimer, this is a story that has a lot to do with the Jewish faith. I am not Jewish. I do not practice Judaism. Neither of us do. Pronunciations might be a little rough.
We're doing our best out here.
Alright, so I'm going to go into a quick itinerary of this episode. So we're going to give a little bit of background info on the Book of Esther itself. I'm going to just let us know who the cast of characters, who the main players are. We're going to go into the Bible story itself. We're going to talk about what is Purim, and then interesting facts and takeaways.
Okie dokie.
So we have some content warnings here.
Awesome.
Genocide.
Great. Starting off strong.
If you know anything about the Book of Esther, it is all about...
It's just full genocide?
It's genocide, and the idea of genocide plays a huge role in this story.
Good.
As does a lot of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And there's going to be discussion on adult content.
Okay. I feel like that's a lot of the Bible too, honestly.
Actually, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's a little bit spicy. So let's jump in. The Book of Esther is about the intermarriage of a Jewish individual and a non-Jewish individual.
Ooh.
And it's a story of a Jewish queen who works to save the entire Jewish people from destruction.
Okay.
This story takes place in the Persian capital of Susa. So some background information on the Book of Esther. So this book of the Bible is found in the Old Testament. So the Old Testament is pre-Jesus for Christians. It is the main book of text for non-Christian, or for Jewish people of the Jewish faith. The Old Testament is also used in the Muslim faith as well. So this book was possibly written around the 4th century BCE or BC during the Persian Hellenistic diaspora.
Okay.
I can say that word.
Yes.
So what's a diaspora, you might ask?
I do ask.
Do you remember what this was from the Marie Laveau episode?
I do not.
So
that was a long time ago.
A diaspora is people living outside of their ancestral homelands. So, or more specifically, for Jewish people living outside of Israel, That is via the Merriam-Webster Dictionary app.
Okay.
This story takes place after the destruction of the Hebrew temple.
Okay.
And it's in the Hebrew Bible. It's in the Old Testament, like we said. So I'm going to take a moment to continue giving a little bit of background here. For those of you who've been listening for a while, you might know that I have a religious studies background. So whenever I get to talk about religious stuff, it's fun for me.
Yes.
So this belongs to the third section of the Judaic canon known as the Ketuvim, or the writings in the Jewish Bible. Esther follows Ecclesiastes and Lamentations.
Okay.
And is read on the festival of Purim. In the Protestant canon, Esther appears between Nehemiah and Job.
Okay.
In the Roman Catholic canon, it appears between Judith and Job. And it includes 6 chapters that are considered apocryphal in the Jewish and Protestant traditions. That means that there are 6 chapters that were kind of added later. Something being apocryphal means that it was kind of a glimpse in from, they say it was divinely gotten there, but people just added to it, basically, is what that means.
Okay.
So there's 6. Yeah, I know you do.
Talk about that in my script, too.
I know you do. There's 6 extra chapters because the Catholic Bible likes to add stuff.
Yeah.
They do. So the Book of Esther is one of the Megillah, which are 5 scrolls read on specific Jewish holidays. Once again, I apologize about pronunciations here.
Neither one of us are Jewish. We're not trying to be disrespectful.
I'm also surviving on, I think I'm running on a very, very yucky 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Other texts include, in the Megillah, are Ruth, Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs, and Lamentations.
Okay.
Versions of Esther in the Septuagint, which is the Hebrew Bible translated into other languages, most commonly Greek, sometimes called the Old Greek Testament, is very different from that in the Hebrew Bible and includes 6 editions, which add another 105 verses to the story.
Whoa.
Major differences include attempts to fill the story in places where the Greek writers felt information was needed. So it's like, the original Hebrew people this was written for would have understood the context. Mm-hmm. The Greek readers didn't, because they come from different context. Okay. So they're almost adding in like footnotes to fill in gaps that the story might not have made sense to people who it wasn't originally written in their context and their culture.
Okay, that makes sense.
Welcome to Anthropology 101.
Hi-yo.
Another kind of thing to keep in mind is when we go through the actual events, God isn't mentioned in the Hebrew text.
Oh.
I think this is the only book of the Old Testament, or the Bible in general, where God isn't mentioned.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Huh. It's implied that he is working through mysterious ways, but these additions were made to include God in the text.
Okay.
And also, it's most likely they were made in the 2nd or 1st century BCE. So what were these additions? A description of the dream of the Jewish hero Mordecai. I love that name.
Yeah.
It's a weird one about 2 dragons.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Prayers by Mordecai and Esther. The Edict of Mordecai, which nullifies an earlier Edict of Hyman. We'll get into what that means in a little bit. And an interpretation of this opening dream mentioned. So they added a dream. Okay. And then they're like, we're going to tell you what it means.
Okay.
Once again, I think this is just to add a little bit of like fluff to it and to try and put God in where it wasn't originally in the text. Any questions so far? I know this is a little bit dense to get into it, but it's not. It's a lot of people in Jewish and Christian faith might have heard of Queen Esther, but there's not much talked about, so I want to give a thorough background.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I don't think I do at this point.
There's a little bit more of the background, and then we'll actually get into who the heck are we talking about.
Yes.
So another kind of cool thing is this book provides the first recorded attempt of a foreign power to destroy the Jewish people in an act of genocide. Yikes. It's very important because of that.
Yeah.
Although past me had a note here, wouldn't we consider the Exodus to be that? But they were enslaved and not killed.
Right.
So also, like several other, not that conservative fundamentalists probably listen to us, but if they do, they're going to be going on this next sentence. It's a work of fiction.
Okay.
Another book, like the Book of... So Jonah
Mm-hmm.
was never considered to be taken as this actually happened. Jonah's the guy that ate by the big fish.
Big old whale.
Not a whale.
Oh, it wasn't a whale.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
It's one of those, like the apple thing.
Oh.
Big fish.
Big fish.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably... There's like a lake somewhere in America, I think in America, that has these giant catfish that are like supposedly as big as cars. It was probably one of those.
Probably one of those. But Jonah is another one where Jonah's almost supposed to be comical.
Okay.
But, so Esther's another one where it's supposed to be a work of fiction. It isn't thought to be historical fact.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that there, like, wasn't characters loosely based on, but it wasn't, yeah.
Is it kind of like an allegory?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so, cast of characters. We've already mentioned Esther by name a couple of times. She is our main lady. She is a young Jewish woman living during the Persian diaspora. She's an orphan. The reader is not given a whole lot of information about her personality or character traits other than being told she is beautiful and obedient.
Okay. I guess that's what they wanted women to be back then, so good for her.
What's your type? Beautiful and obedient. Okay. She's a daughter of Abihail. So I guess that was the father's name.
Okay.
And she's sometimes called Hadassah. It was common for Jewish people in diaspora to have a Jewish name and a non-Jewish name. The Jewish name means myrtle.
Oh.
Haman, he is our next important character. He is a vizier and descendant of the Amalekite king who was the enemy of Esther and Mordecai's ancestor. So there's like a history. Like they're already setting it up to be like, we don't like this guy.
They got beef.
Yeah. The ancestors were Agagites, which were the enemies of the Jews. He is described as arrogant and egotistical.
Okay.
There's so many SAT words in this. I must have been feeling really smart when I wrote this. So we're getting into Mordecai once again. Love this name.
Yeah.
It is a solid name.
It's a good name.
Esther's cousin who raised her. He is said to have been exiled from Judea to Babylon. The action of the plot, which he figures appears to be set about a century before, so like the exile would have happened about a century
Before
yeah.
this story was set.
Yeah.
Okay.
The family was exiled by King Nebuchadnezzar. And
That's a name.
Isn't it? And he is a Benjaminite, which is connected to Saul, who was Israel's first king. So there's different tribes of Israelites.
Okay.
Yeah. Benjaminite is the tribe that they would be ascribed to.
Okay.
All right. So we have King Ahasuerus.
Okay.
And he was the king of Persia at the time. He was not Jewish. He might have been a reference to King Xerxes of Persia and might have been referenced as, like, it might have been like let's reference this person but not call them by their name.
Okay.
And then we have Vashti, who is the former queen of Persia. We'll explain why she's the former in a little bit.
Okay.
Any questions about our main friends here?
I don't think so. So far.
All right, ready to hear the story?
Yes. Okay, let's do it.
So, like many good stories, it starts with a banquet.
Okay.
On the 7th day of the banquet, when the king was, and I quote, merry with wine, he asked 7 eunuchs who attended him to bring Queen Vashti to him, wearing the royal crown to show everyone how beautiful she was. Our good friend there said, no. And
She said, you lit, fam. Sober up.
And the king was not a happy camper.
Okay.
The king did what any logical, angry person would do, and he consulted sages who knew the law. The sages were afraid that due to Queen Vashti, women would get this wild idea that they don't have to listen to their husbands.
They would be disobedient.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the horror. Including the wives of the advisors.
Oh! My lord. My lack of lot in this story, apparently.
So the king made a law requiring all women to give honor to their husbands, whatever
Girl.
the hell that means. Regardless of the husband's status. It didn't matter if your husband was the king or, like, a servant.
So these women had to be a man. They had to be swift as a coursing river.
Well, they just had to do whatever their husband said.
Great.
A decree was sent out declaring that every man is the master of his own house.
Gross. I'm gonna get us canceled. I'm so Sorry.
Then they decide to make a search throughout the entire empire for the most, and I quote, gorgeous virgin female specimen.
Get out.
Mm-hmm.
Why were women burned for being witches when human beings like this existed?
Because they had ideas and they were not honoring their husbands.
I guess.
So all of these ladies were brought to the citadel of Susa, and the one that pleased the king most would be picked as queen instead of Vashti.
This is giving very Timothy Dexter vibes.
Oh my god.
That's not real. She's a goat.
I bet that this king statue was in his statue garden.
It's canon now. It's canon now.
Timothy Dexter's like this. This is who I aspire to be.
Correct. Yes.
All right. So Mordecai, the Benjaminite, enters the chat along with his younger cousin, who he had raised, Esther, and as fate or really bad luck has it, she was one of the lucky chosen ladies.
Mordecai, why would you bring her into that situation? Mordecai.
I don't think he had a choice.
Yeah, okay.
They probably
that's
like
fair.
my view is like they like went like house to house and were like, hey, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna go with her, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. At least he was there to protect her. Hopefully,
I don't think like there was much of a choice. I think it was like, you're pretty.
This is decreed. Yeah.
You seem submissive. Come with me.
You
have nice hair.
Yeah.
Several women brought into the king's household, but Esther was the one lucky enough to be his favorite. She, and I quote, pleases him the most, and due to this, she becomes queen.
Okay.
She was also rewarded with, and I quote, cosmetic treatments for a portion of the food, with 7 chosen maids from the king's palace. Then this advanced her and her maids to the best place in the harem.
Ugh.
Because harems were things at this point.
Yep.
And then she was taking guidance from Mordecai still. He told her, like, hey, like, don't tell them you're Jewish.
That probably would not go well.
Because they were in exile and they were kind,
Yeah.
It was like, don't tell them these things because this might not go well for you.
Right.
Every day, Mordecai would go and check in to get info on how Esther was doing. So while he just, was chilling by the gate, as one does, Mordecai heard a plot from 2 of the eunuchs to assassinate the king.
Honestly, I was going to say, I kind of had the thought in my head that, like, can Esther and her maids and the rest of the women in his harem just, plot together to do that too?
Oh, hold your horses.
Oh, okay.
So Mordecai gave this info to Esther, and he was able to kind of stop the plot, and the eunuchs were executed. He was like, hey, so, like, this is going to happen. So they just kind of...
Dang.
After the failed assassination, Hyman joins the story. He is promoted to vizier.
Okay.
He is elevated in the bureaucracy of the king, and he just, like, relishes in the attention. He's, like, all about having underlings and all of that fun stuff. I imagine him surrounded by the minions from the Army.
Correct.
And then we are at the point where the shit really starts to hit the fan.
Okay.
How could it get worse, you may be asking? But Mordecai refuses to bow down to Hyman. Haman's very adult and intelligent response to this is, well, we're going to wipe out your whole race of people because one person pissed me off. So they must know Mordecai is Jewish, but not Esther.
Yeah. Which is weird considering. Maybe they don't realize they're cousins.
Maybe. I think this is supposed to be as outrageous as it sounds.
Yeah.
This is all happening over Passover. I'm going to give a quick TLDR of what Passover is.
Okay.
I wrote that and I didn't write any explanation of what Passover is.
Oh, no.
So Passover is a Jewish holiday. It harkens back to the story of the plagues when Moses was fleeing Egypt. So we're going to jump back several books to when the Israelites were in Egypt and they were trying to get the heck out of Dodge. And Moses was going to lead his people to freedom, right? Mm-hmm. And Pharaoh was like, yeah, no, you're not taking my entire workforce. And a bunch of plagues happened, like a single frog. That's literally what the translation is, not frogs.
Yeah.
Some of the translations are, right?
Big ass frog.
A single frog. Locusts, all that fun stuff. But the last one was the angel of death would come and take the firstborn male of every family, unless you had lamb's blood across your door frame. and it would pass over those houses.
Okay.
Well, the Jewish people, their houses got passed over. The Pharaoh's house did not. He lost his firstborn son, and he's like, go. That was not bad for Bible studies on the fly.
No, it wasn't. And I was just going to say, if you've never watched the movie Prince of Egypt, you should watch that because the plague song is pretty crazy. Anyway.
One frog.
One frog.
Okay, so we're going to flash back to Esther and this particular Bible story.
Okay.
Haman's underlings decided to cast a pour, which is a lot. Basically rolling dice to determine when this genocide will take place.
Okay.
They settle on a date, and Haman convinces the king that the Jewish people are disobedient and they need to be wiped off the face of the earth. Basically, they're saying they're different, they don't follow our rules and customs, you should not tolerate them.
Old-timey racism. Great.
Yep. Once again, this is supposed to sound as outrageous as it is.
Yes.
He also promises to pay a large sum of money to have this act done.
I will say this sounds outrageous, but, like, this is how genocide starts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like, it's outrageous. It sounds like, nah, that's not real. No, it's real.
Okay. So an order is sent out to have this done. The Bible says the king and Haman sat down for drinks after these orders were sent, but the city of Susa was very confused. The decree was sent out throughout its province to destroy, to kill, to annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on the appointed date. Yeah, remember, our king doesn't realize his queen is Jewish.
Sick. Great.
Guess that never came up. He was too busy doing other things with her.
Yeah, apparently. Gross.
In his defense, according to the text, Esther also was like, I'm just not going to tell anyone. I'm just not going to follow the custom. So she wasn't keeping kosher. She wasn't doing any of that stuff.
Right.
So nothing would have made him suspect that she was part of the Jewish population.
Okay.
The textbook gives a wonderful description that I'm just going to put in here. In other words, she is not following the Torah or doing anything different from any other woman in the palace, except presumably sleeping with the king more regularly.
Oof. Sorry, girl.
Just the way the textbook, the literary history of the Bible, whatever that one was.
Just like not pulling any punches.
Academic religious studies is a great place to be.
Yes.
So, where's our friend Mordecai?
Yeah, where's cousin?
Kind of upset.
I get that.
So he is tearing at his clothes and puts on sackcloth and ashes. This is very much in the Bible if people do that when they're mourning.
Okay.
Esther hears of this, and at first she's confused. She's like, hey, cousin, do you need some clothes?
She said, why you do this?
Can I offer you, like, a nice tunic? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he refuses them, and she asks some of her eunuchs about what's going on.
Some of her eunuchs. Asks some of her eunuchs, goes crazy.
So he gets the info, one of the eunuchs, and a copy of the decree for Esther.
Oh.
Mordecai has some words with his cousin and makes it clear that she needs to intervene with the king because he is going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And I quote, on the pain of death, she cannot approach the king without being summoned, and the king has not summoned her in 30 days, implying that she has fallen out of favor. So if a golden scepter is held out, the person will be spared. And so Mordecai is like, maybe there's a reason you're in this position.
Yeah.
Like, you might die, but if you don't, everyone's going to.
Yeah. The worst that can happen is like no one, everyone dies, including you, but the best that could happen is that no one dies.
So while she's going to talk with the king, she tells Mordecai to go and get the Jewess in Susa and have a banquet in her honor. She goes to the king, and if I perish, I perish. To quote sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm just kind of thinking maybe don't gather the group of people together. I'm not judging her because, like, I don't know what I would do in this situation, but, like, maybe don't gather the big group of people that the guy's trying to have killed in one space. Again, not judging, just a thought.
So to quote my source here, Esther uses her charm, good looks, and talents to make the king open to granting her requests.
Oh boy.
The king is like, you know what? I'll give you whatever you want. Her request was to have the king and Haman come to the banquet she was throwing. There's a reason I didn't answer your question.
Okay. Oh, she's gonna poison his ass.
This works. And when the king finds out that Esther is in fact Jewish and Haman is the villain of the story, he has him hung on the gallows that were built for Mordecai.
Oh.
Because Mordecai really, really did not make friends with Hyman.
Yeah.
And has the order to have the Jewish people killed redacted.
Okay.
Mordecai is then promoted to Grand Vizier and at the end of the story. The fact that Mordecai saved the king's life comes back into his mind, and he is unable to sleep. He decides that the king, he decides that he should honor Mordecai, and so that's how he gets promoted. And he gives him royal gifts of the robes the king has worn. Like, I don't, you can have this.
These are my hand-me-downs.
He has a horse he has ridden and a royal crown.
Wow.
The king authorizes the Jews to attack and kill all of their enemies in what is basically self-defense, as the Persians might not have gotten the memo. So it's like, hey,
y'all,
if they try to kill you, you can kill them. It's totally cool, because they might not have heard. So, like, instead of, I don't know, making someone, like, sending more messengers out.
Just gonna say, maybe resend the memo, sir.
I think the concern, they might not have gotten it, but how would the decree to the Jewish people, unless they just assume they're going to fight?
Right. Like, I feel like that was
really
kind of
thought out. But once again, this isn't historical. This is just Per NPR, Chapter 9, which doesn't usually make it into the Purim spiels and children's books, after Haman's plot is foiled, the Jews are actually still in danger because the king's decree to kill the Jews has gone out and it can't be repealed. So instead, they arm the Jews and let them fight back, and they do it. They kill 75,000 people across the empire.
Whoa.
There is zero evidence this happened.
Okay.
It is literally more just to be taken part of a satire, like...
Sure. This is folklore of the time, which is fascinating.
So I keep saying this word Purim, right? This is how it comes. This is a Jewish holiday. They celebrate this great deliverance during this annual feast. So what is Purim? Via the Encyclopedia Britannica, the actual origins of this holiday are unknown. It was established around the 2nd century BCE. Possibly the story of Esther may have come after. So it's almost like, hey, we have this holiday. Don't know why we have this holiday. We should have a reason for this holiday. Let's make a story.
It's literally, this is biblical folklore. This is so cool.
It's so cool. So, yeah, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. David Tennant, come on the podcast.
Purim is like essentially the Jewish Mardi Gras.
Oh, jeez.
So it's called Purim because the Pur is the lots that were cast to determine the time of the annihilation of the Jewish race, which, thanks to Esther, didn't happen.
Did not happen. Right.
This holiday continues to be celebrated by the Jewish people, and it also it's taken on a more poignant meaning post-Holocaust.
Yeah, sure.
It usually starts, so like, what does this holiday look like? Well, it usually starts with the ritual observance, a day of fasting to dedicate it to Esther. So it's Ta Anet Esther on the day before Purim, usually celebrated on the 14th of Adar, which is the 12th month of the Jewish calendar, March-ish.
Okay.
The source Judaism 101 describes Purim as one of the most joyous and fun holidays on the Jewish calendar. It commemorates a time when the Jewish people living in Persia were saved from extermination. Encyclopedia Britannica kind of describes it as, on Purim, Jews are also enjoined to exchange gifts and make donations to the poor. Through the years, many non-religious customs have come to be associated with the festival. Among them, the baking of a 3-cornered pastries called Haman. Oh, yeah, because it's Hyman. Hyman Chanshin.
Okay.
It literally means Haman's pocket.
Oh.
Or Haman's ear.
Haman's ear. Oh, dear.
Purim plays like
stage plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Became popular during the 17th century, contributing to the carnival atmosphere. And the deliverance, back to the Judaism 101 source, the deliverance from the massacre was not completed until the 15th of the month. So in cities that were walled in the time of Joshua, Purim is observed for 2 days, the 14th and the 15th. The 15th is referred to as Shoshem Purim, meaning, so referring to the city. And when it falls on the Sabbath, as it did in, I'm going to put that in there. Okay. So basically, generally the 14th, but sometimes other things get in the way. Some cities might have held it further than others.
Okay, sure.
It moves a little bit.
Okay.
It's a day to, it's kind of a day to party.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drinking. and it's kind of, I guess, expected for that. Now, however, if people are like recovering from substance or alcohol use, or like really young, or for whatever reason it's not a good idea from the drink, they're like, there's not pressure.
Good.
It's also common, so when the plays happen, it's also common to stomp feet, boo, hiss, and use noisemakers at the mention of Hyman's name.
Oh my goodness, that's like Rocky Horror.
It also might have been related to the Persian New Year custom.
Oh.
All right, so that kind of is, before we get interesting facts, that is the story of Esther and where the tradition, because the tradition of Purim, the story of Esther comes from that tradition, but the tradition celebrates the story.
Right.
So do you have any thoughts before we get into some interesting facts?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the story is really interesting. I like the story. Kind of wish Esther would have killed the king a little bit, not gonna lie. He sounds like a pig. But at least he stopped a genocide that he low-key started, question mark?
Oh, he didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun story.
Yeah.
I say that loosely. So here's just some interesting and strange facts. There is almost nothing Jewish about the story other than the main characters being Jewish.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is kind of funny. And like there's a little bit of references to Jewish ancestors, to Moses. A lot of the other books of the Old Testament are, oh yes, let's refer back to this person, or we're going to talk about God or something. It's like, no, this Jewish person pretended not to be Jewish, ended up being the favorite queen in the harem, and because of that, the Jewish people didn't die.
Right. It was luck of the draw.
Literally.
Literally luck of the draw.
And I also wanted to note that in this time, and specifically in the Persian diaspora, women were pretty much helpless, powerless, and marginalized.
Yeah.
Which made what she was able to do in the story even more amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So from the Shavi, Hyman Encyclopedia of Jewish Women, in this sense, the Jews living in a foreign land could identify with a woman. So, like, it's saying, like, when people who were in exile later on, they could be like, oh, they could identify with Esther.
Okay.
Because, like Esther, I'm paraphrasing a quote right now, he or she were essentially powerless and marginalized. And they could only really get power through wit, through dumb luck, talents. But Esther does demonstrate that even when kind of the odds are stacked against someone, they can still do something great.
Sure.
And this also kind of goes on to talk about, like, Esther's known for being this beautiful queen, right? Kind of like hearkening back to the Cleopatra episode that we were on with Triple U. Cleopatra was known for being this beautiful queen. She was incredibly intelligent.
She was, yeah.
I do think sometimes in the past, it's just my opinion, women were almost
Underestimated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, she's pretty.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of intelligence under that, too.
Right.
And sometimes that could kind of help women sneak into places where they could do the things they need to do.
Sure. I think we talked about that a little bit in Cleopatra, too.
But what does society and history tend to remember women as? Not as being cunning, not as being witty, as being beautiful.
Yep.
Which is a disservice.
It is. It is. It very much is.
I'm getting kind of into discussion land, sorry.
That's okay. It's just, even in modern day, like, so many women have done incredible things. And that's what media and, this is very, very modern. I forget who it was. It was a decade or so back. There was a celebrity that was caught on camera. Like, the paparazzi caught photographs of this. Saving, I think it was her nanny and her child from drowning. I forget if they got just, like, they were at the beach and they got caught in the breakers, or, like, I don't think it was a riptide they got caught in, but she literally dragged her child and nanny to safety out of the water so they wouldn't drown. What did the media focus on? She had a nip slip when this happened.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I kind of just went to thoughts. We
it's okay.
Earlier, but it's of things in this story because it's a main female protagonist. Like, yes, I mean, I probably have been like he was the one that pushed her to do the things. But ultimately, she had to make the decision. She had to do this thing, which very easily could have killed her and everyone else.
Yeah.
this young woman was asked to do something that was probably extremely scary and very, like, she could have easily been like, no, I'm not gonna die.
Mm-hmm. Because I can't imagine he treated her well, regardless of, like...
The king.
The king. I can't imagine, regardless of whether she was Jewish or not, she was probably treated like crap.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of layers to this, and it's a very interesting story. And once again, it's one of those things that, especially Christians, I don't think this is as common in Judaism. In Christianity, people tend to take the Bible literally. Sorry, guys, it's not.
Yep.
You can come at me. I have a degree.
I need that on a t-shirt.
It's yes, some of it is people writing down their version of the histories of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is allegories and stories. Honestly, Jonah is another Bible story I would love to do. It is almost more comical than Esther. Well, there's less genocide. Nineveh was supposed to be destroyed, and that's a whole thing. But another thing is that Esther is one of those, so like I grew up,
No, you're good.
I grew up in the church. I grew up in the United Church of Christ. I don't know if I said that before. I'm just going to out my whole history. My social security number is, no, just kidding. I grew up in the United Church of Christ, which is a more progressive denomination of Christianity. So I grew up going to Sunday school, VBS, all of that stuff. And Queen Esther was like mentioned, and when they do things of women of the Bible, they mention her, but no one goes into her because like she basically saved everyone.
Yeah.
Because she found favor in the king and was essentially like, like sex was such a big part of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like she pleased him.
Yeah.
We all know what that means
we
biblically.
all know what that means. Yep.
So I don't think that this story, growing up, it's like, oh yeah, Esther, she saved the Hebrew race. They don't tell you how or why.
Sure.
Which as a kid makes sense.
Yeah. But she's such a powerful figure.
Mm-hmm. And once again, I think it gets kind of simmered down into, well, she was really beautiful. Well, she was smart enough to know exactly what she had to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew the cost if she would have failed.
Yep.
That's my feel there.
Yeah. We can cut this out if this is a little bit too flying close to the sun here, but I can't because I'm ace. But can you imagine trying to put yourself in any form of situation like that, knowing that, like, genocide rides on this?
I mean, even that notwithstanding, because at that point, her just coming into the banquet or the room, whatever, the throne room, was like...
That's true.
Unless you're summoned, you're not allowed to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, nothing was really riding on it when she was originally chosen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, okay, like, he had found favor with her. He probably just got bored. Mm-hmm. Not saying she was boring, but it seems like he didn't have a very long attention span.
Right. I would agree with that. He kicked his original wife to the back of the harem.
Because she said no.
Gross.
I don't even... She might have been executed.
Oh, true. Yeah. Gross. What drew you to this topic?
So as I said earlier, I do have a religious studies degree, so my focus wasn't on theology. My focus was on anthropology and ethics. So anthropology, by that I mean, like, why do people believe what they believe? Where do these beliefs come from? And ethics. And this is just one of those stories of the Bible that doesn't get a whole lot of focus, and it is such an interesting little piece of, like, biblical folklore.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I do not think the story gets even remotely enough attention. I think a lot of it... Now, this is probably different in the Jewish culture and belief systems, but in especially Protestant Christianity, don't talk about Esther a whole lot.
Right.
Part of it might be the fact there's a lot of adult content. We don't talk about Song of Songs either very much. There's some interesting lines in there.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Was there anything in this episode that you wanted to research more into? I said that really weird.
So this wasn't even related to this. I really do want to do Jonah eventually. But as far as this particular goes, no, because it's kind of pretty self-contained. It wasn't like we could go, oh, I could look up who Esther really was.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then what was the strangest part about this topic / research?
So, like, God, the fact that God isn't mentioned in some of the reworks of it, I think the Catholic and the Greek, they did kind of add God in. But in, like, the original Jewish text, the Protestant texts, it doesn't really seem like he makes an appearance. He just kind of be hanging out, working in mysterious ways.
He's vibing.
Just be like, hey, Huh. Oh, look, one of them's in the harem now. Isn't this interesting? How'd she get there?
One of them is in the harem right now.
It's probably later like, is that one of them? How'd that one get there? I'll just keep her there. It might be useful.
Yeah, really?
I'm gonna go to hell. It's fine.
You know what? We can feel Satan licking our toes. It's fine. I guess, does this wrap up our discussion on Queen Esther?
Yeah.
Well, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
May luck be on your side until we meet again.
We'll be back again soon with another Something Strange.
Ooh, do you have anything witty to say at the end of that?
She asked her eunuchs.
Excuse me, George. Go stick on George.
Eunuch George and Eunuch Fred.
Can you like go tell me what's going on?
Give me some tea here.